Gary Washburn.
Hey, Brad. Always the video seems to be not as bad as the real life situation. So what did you take from yesterday, and how did yesterday affect today's practice? Were guys more intense? Were guys more focused? How did yesterday affect today?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday hurt. Like yesterday hurt. When you go back and watch the video, the toughest part for me was that if we play an average, end of third, fourth quarter, then we feel really good about ourselves because it might have been the best game we played up to that point. Obviously, you have to put that together for 48 minutes, but it hurt. It hurt. That one stung. So today was about being able to put that behind us and learn from it, learn from what we need to do better in that moment. And, I think we will do better in that moment. We talked about, we did some simulations in practice that I think will be productive. And everybody's attitudes were really good. Like, I think when you're in the midst of this, that's really hard, right? Like you've got, you feel the weight of a loss like that, and you forget all the great things that you did to get up to that lead. We were able to show both. And so in a lot of ways, it was our best game up to that point, and then certainly one of our worst after that point. Just got to put it all together, and that's what we'll keep working to do.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, Brad, we just got done talking to Aaron, and obviously over the past several games, he's gotten a chance to play a bunch more. I was just curious, in a season like this where you don't have a lot of practice time and you're kind of just getting from game to game, what leads you to decide to give a guy like that a chance when, you maybe not have got a chance to see him in practice like you normally would throughout the year?
Well, I get a chance to see him almost every day, do his individual work, and I know what he's going through every day. I know the progressions of work that he's going through. I know how much he and Joe Mazzulla are covering in their individual work and in their preparation. And so I think a lot of it was we felt like he was ready to really contribute. We knew he'd give good energy. He's a high character person. He plays the game with integrity. He hustles, he works, he runs, he stays in plays. You've seen him block a couple shots. He corner crashes for rebounds. He does all those little things. And I think the biggest challenge, Tim, and then you have to just kind of let that play out, is just adjusting to the speed of the game on offense. And he's done a better job of that as the last few weeks have gone on. And, obviously we're playing young off the bench, and, I think he's done a pretty good job over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot to build off there.
Sorry. And in relation to playing young off the bench, obviously in recent games, you've had Peyton in over Jeff most of the time as the backup point guard. Is that something that you plan to continue with for a while, or could Jeff at some point get back in the rotation on a regular basis?
I mean, I think we have to be fluid, Tim. I mean, I think when you're going back and forth results-wise, you have to be fluid. But, I think Peyton's had a lot of good moments young in his rookie year. And he's only 30 games in, so you hope that both he and Aaron would get better with time. And I think they both, again, I go back to Aaron. Aaron's energy makes a huge difference. And I think it's really helped us. I think we got to get to the point where, he can be in a closing lineup potentially until we're back full, just because he gives us more space, more ability to spread the floor, more ability to play, when teams really attack our best players, to play in that space and get open looks.
David Aldridge.
Hey, Brad. I know you're locked in on your own team right now, but you had mentioned something last week about the Jazz and how the ball was really moving, and they were the closest thing to the 2014 Spurs you've seen. Yeah. And I know you all have had stretches where you've had real good offensive flow, and I just wonder what it looks like, what it feels like when the ball's really moving and you're really moving the defense side to side and you're really giving up good shots for great ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all depends on obviously. First of all, Quinn and the Jazz have just done an amazing job. I think that the way that they play, the continuity that they play with, um, their reads are impeccable. And you talk about how different coverages they eat up all the different coverages. So you can blitz them, they'll get it out quick, they'll play 4-on-3. You can switch them, they'll space it out, and they'll drive downhill and create an advantage. They'll show them you can play back, and they'll just pull up and shoot. They're so versatile in how they attack you, and that's a fun way to play. A lot of times they use, to me, and I don't want to speak for Quinn. Quinn knows that way better than I do. They don't always necessarily play with the side-to-side movement to start, but they do have that option. Sometimes they create it with their individual talent. Like if they'll get a switch, then they'll create it, then they'll find who's helping and let them take advantage of that. They're very unselfish in that way. They play, the ball never stops, it never sticks. They've done a good job. And I think that they certainly deserve to be where they are and be talked about by everyone.
Chris Gasper.
Hey, Brad, I just wanted to ask you about the team's play in the fourth quarter. Right now, you guys are second to last in the league in fourth quarter field goal percentage at 41.9. Last year, you were in the top 5. Fourth quarter scoring, you're 26th. Last year, you were second. What's the biggest difference you're seeing with this team in the fourth quarter in terms of not having efficient and effective offense?
Yeah, I think that's gone kind of in waves here, right? We went through a period where we were turning it over. We've gone through a period like yesterday where actually by the time we hit the fourth quarter, we were handling the blitz a lot better and we were getting good shots. And sometimes that happens. And then I've just got to do as good of a job as I can of organizing us and helping put our guys in great spots to have success. And so I think we all have a role to play in that. The nice part is, and I think you mentioned this, is most of the guys in this group have been there when we've been really good in the fourth. And really up to the Miami series last year, we were pretty damn good in the fourth quarter. So there is that we can do this. And I think we just have to focus a little bit more on all the things we can control, not let something that happened that didn't go our way affect the next play, and then get reorganized and attack together. And I think we'll do that. It's one of those things I do think, and I've been through years like this in both college and the pros where you have a trend like that, and then you get hypersensitive to it, hyper-focused on it, and it gets a hell of a lot better by the end of the year. And sometimes you have slippage if it's the other way. And maybe that happened to us a little bit last year. And so I hope that we can improve and be really good by the end of the year at that stuff.
Last couple of questions for Coach. We'll go to John Corrales.
Brad, you just said you've got to do a job organizing these guys. What does that entail? And secondly, as these frustrating games keep happening, guys are starting to express some frustration after games. How do you prevent that from becoming more than just some blowing off some steam and not a bigger problem that affects more?
It's frustrating to lose. I think we have a very competitive group. I think we have a group that will only get better, but we also have a very competitive group. And, again, I go back to like our best players have gotten the chance to experience things that a lot of guys, especially the young guys, Jalen and Jason's age, that other guys their age haven't gotten a chance to experience. And so like anything else, we all want that all the time. And so a string of losses, tough losses, what we've gone through is, it's hard to swallow. And that's why it's so important to be able to move on to the next day, the next play, learn, improve, get better, and do all that we can to help each other have success. Certainly, that's not just by any means on them or the guys that are playing in the fourth. I think that's everybody in the organization, and certainly me and my staff in helping as much as we possibly can. But I'm not worried about it from the standpoint of like there's always going to be frustration after games. This group, when we get back together, when we meet, when we talk, just a real down to earth, you know, real level group. And so we know we have to improve. We will. That doesn't mean yesterday doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean it wasn't an uncomfortable feeling or a terrible plane ride or a tough night's sleep.
Final question, Jared Weiss.
Brad, you were just talking about Utah's side-to-side movement, and usually that's something you always bring up as kind of an indicator of good offense, but especially as the league seems to be more focused on isolation, attacking mismatches, do you think that is still like the ultimate ideal offense to constantly have side-to-side movement?
Everybody's different. Everybody's different, Jared. I think you play to the strengths of your team. Some teams are more built to play like that than others. Some teams are built to play through the post. Some teams are built to play through a central ball handler or two. Some teams are built to, you know, play ISO. Some teams are built to play side to side. I think you want to get a balance. I think what the side to side movement does, whether it's, you know, just kind of false movement, which a lot of teams do, including us, or whether it is like to generate that next great look, is everybody touches it, right? So that when everybody touches it and everybody feels good about it, that's a good thing. I do think that though, like I said about the Jazz, they're being blitzed. They're just going to set a spread, pick and roll, get the blitz, and then play 4-on-3 out of it. Like they don't usually go to the side-to-side stuff right away. And I think that that's a great compliment to them. And I think we've had our moments in the last couple of weeks where we've really improved. It's what I just said about last night's game. It's so frustrating because I thought in a lot of ways it was our best 28 minutes of the year. Problem is the game's 48 minutes.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, Coach.
Have a good day.